National Boot Camp is over, baby. And now it is the time for the freedom fighters to be set loose.
So go out there, y'all, and win by changing your life.
We are armed, we are trained, we're mobilized, we're fired up, we are motivated, baby.
A good soldier fights to win the battle, but a great leader builds an army to win the war.
We are attacking poverty and crushing mediocrity across this great nation.
Fired up out of my mind. My hair's on fire. Let's go, Alliance!
America ain't never seen nothing like this.
I am the magic in this business, baby. I am the master of my fate, baby. I am the one. If it's up to be, it's up to me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Legacy is the name of the game. Here we go. It's on like Donkey Kong. Let's go. Imagine stepping into a world where every moment feels like a scene from a movie. Crystal clear waters, exotic adventures, luxury at every turn. This is the amazing Thailand, and it's an experience like no other. We started off in Phuket, staying at this place called Sai Laguna Phuket. It's like stepping into paradise right on the beach. The beach club vibes insane. Sand between your toes, great food, music, great music blasting. And let me tell you, not far away is the PP Islands. Felt like a postcard. How about this? Then a private lunch on Nakanoi Island. They call it Bamboo Island, I think. Canoeing. These things called the Viking Caves. These vast islands pop out out of the water. And you see these caves, so beautiful. James Bond Island, yeah, that's right, the classic movie, James Bond, that island, it comes up like that, and you can't even believe you're looking at it, yeah. What's next? Elephant Sanctuary, bathing gentle giants. Can you imagine those creatures, you bathing them and kissing them? No, did I tell you I got kissed by an elephant? Chiang Mai. We stayed at the luxurious Anatara, where it's all about the cultural experience. We did shopping at the markets, the tuk-tuk tours, exploring temples, blessings from monks. Expands your mind. Imagine the bazaars, the night bazaars. It's crazy. Food, the people, the art, the trinkets, the design, the great paintings. So, if you're thinking about earning this dream trip, stop thinking. Start doing. This is your chance to experience the magic of the amazing Thailand. Believe me, it's a journey you'll never forget. Let's do it together. Get busy, get it done, earn it. Let's go to Thailand. Come on.
Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Ryan Chang.
Go, baby. Friday, the Activity Call. I am so excited to be hosting again, and just such an honor and privilege to be here Friday morning with my friend, Big Mike Maurici. So really, there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about today. Especially on recruiting, the things that we're doing to blow up our business, to help our people drive depth, and also just meeting more people, getting more wide in our business. And, Mike and I, we actually been to a lot of events together, the cabin events twice, which is awesome. We'll talk about that today. And just some of the things that we're doing right now, urgently trying to painstakingly get more people in our business, contacting more people. But at first, I'll just introduce myself for those you don't know me. I'm Ryan Chang. I'm the regional manager with the Alliance. Been with the company for about 2.5 years. And, started as a young boy in Taiwan. I was just had that American dream after watching TV. Came to United States at 14 years old in Oklahoma. Grew up in a small town named Muskogee, Oklahoma. Okie from Muskogee. There's actually a country song for that. Played football, track, baseball in high school, and went to OU for college. So, and after school, really just been in retail business, being a manager of multiple brands, have a job. But then my second dream, moved to California in 2015, thinking that I had a job, had a store lined up for me, but the managers, they stopped answering my call, stopped answering emails, texts. So I went out there without a job, right? And luckily, got some resumes, so still got hired on with another retail brand. But somebody said, hey, Ryan, I think you're really great with your personality. You can speak Mandarin and English. Why don't you give this a try? So lo and behold, I got interviewed at the big firm, Fortune 100 firm, and got recruited, being a financial advisor. So been in the industry for 10 years, been at the Alliance. Luckily, thank God, found the Alliance 2.5 years ago. And the business just been exploding. And really today, I want to just bring on a lot of things in details, what I'm doing and what Mike is doing. We're just crushing in the recruiting business right now, building our team. And so I'll let Mike introduce himself, and here we go.
Morning, Alliance family. Thanks, Ryan. I'm honored to be on this call with you, bud. Like we said, hey, Albright Leadership Cabin Buddies 2 times, man. It's just crazy how it worked out like that. So, you get around the right people, you do the right things, right? Guys, good morning. My name is Mike Marisi, born and raised in the suburbs of Chicago. I've got a beautiful wife, Kate. I got 2 little ones, Lola and MJ. Lola's turning 2 on Monday, and MJ is going to be 5 in January. Time keeps flying. They're watching right now. Hey guys, good morning. And a little bit of background about me. So I used to do pharmaceutical sales before I got into this industry. I was on that hamster wheel in life, and I feel like everyone's been at that point at some point in their life where it didn't matter how hard I was running. I just felt like I was in the same spot year after year after year, building a business for someone else. And I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And my aunt, some of you guys, especially everyone here at the Alliance knows, Diane Lampy, she reached out to me and we talked, and she introduced me to some of the people she was doing business with. She flew me down to Dallas to meet everyone. And, the next thing I knew, I got my license. I was working part-time in the moonlight, was doing better on the weekend than I was during the week. But I fell in love with the growth, the mindset, the perspective, the leadership, the training, and the culture, that it was just a no-brainer for me to switch out of that world and come into this one. And we've just been building it ever since. And it's getting more, we're having more fun, we're doing better, and we're having a blast. Every single year, it's just getting better and better and better. So it's tough to find a spot to be able to say that. So we love it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And I love you, brother, because honestly, the first time we hung out together was the first cabin in November 2023. But I was always watching you on these calls talking about you're the tall, handsome guy, right? With glasses, Jeep, tied down to clients with the client appointments, working, hard knocking, going on the houses. So, but today, what we're going to talk about and find out exactly what you're doing with recruiting. And speaking of time flying fast, my wife and I, today is our 5th year anniversary. Tatiana and I, we count the day we met, our anniversary. Andy's about to turn 1-year-old, which is crazy. Lola's 2, Andy is almost 1. I remember last time we spoke, Lola was born. So
right. Crazy.
Crazy time. And so you're thinking about the 2 of us, right? We're talking right now, like the first thing on the agenda, I feel like it's, as far as recruiting, the urgency. Right, the urgency, and it's pure urgency, because for a long time, I think maybe it's Mike, maybe it's me. We might be thinking about, hey, am I going to have enough clients? Am I going to have enough recruits? Can I really build this thing? And I sort of that fear of failure a little bit. Like, Can I really do this? Is people going to say yes to me? But I would say I want to challenge everybody. Just, hey, turn that fear of failure and focus on effort instead, right? Because if you're focusing on your effort, your daily conversation, your daily activities, these results are going to show up anyways, right? And so I was wondering, like, so far now, I feel like you're pressing even harder on your recruiting and on your urgency.
Absolutely, man. And I love what you're saying, because that urgency is so important. And I wanted to throw a quick story out here too, because I think some of us have heard this, and I've read this in a book a couple times, but coming to that exact point is there was a ceramics class going on, and this teacher decides to give these two groups. He says, splits the class in two. He says, this group, we're going to focus on quantity, and this group, we're going to focus on quality. And I'm going to grade you on what you're going to produce. And the crazy thing was the quantity. They just were mass producing as many ceramic bowls as they could. The quality, they were trying to come up with the best theories, the best ideas, the techniques and everything, just to make that one perfect bowl. And what they found at the end of the class or the study or whatever it was, they found out that the highest quality actually came from the group of the highest quantity. And so that quantity produces the quality. So you have to fill it up with activity. And the more activity, the more times you try things, the more attempts you put out there. And you may not be amazing at it in the beginning, but I'll tell you, if you're doing something over and over and over again, like, you're going to get tired of, not being good, of sucking at it, right? You're going to have to figure out a way to get better at it. And if you're focused and dialed in, that's where you just get that mentorship and you just keep on sharpening those skills. So that's a great point of urgency, what you're saying, bud, and putting the activity in.
Absolutely. And seeing kind of what you're doing, and it's really the success in recruiting. It's not luck. It's not the timing. It's the right person, the right day. It's really just having that multiple fishing poles, I call it, in the water, like lines in the water. Is volume, right? Volume-based activities you're talking about. And really, the more lines you cast out there, the more fish you're naturally going to catch. Because you're thinking about Andy, right? And he's everywhere. He's recruiting all day, every day. It's an all the time thing. It's an everyday thing. It's a 27, RU thing he talks about all the time. And so speaking of kind of having multiple channels of recruiting and multiple fishing lines out there, I know we have ads. I know we have Presence Club, incredible Presence Club with all the resources that they have. I mean, of course, social media, Facebook, painstakingly contacting your personal list, right? Your warm market. We talked about that this Wednesday, how we start seeing this trend where a lot of people that are your leaders, the one that's moving, are the people with that speed of trust. And I'm curious, Mike, like, are you seeing that as well in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that, because I know I'm listening to a book right now called Reach Out, and it talks about, staying consistent with reaching out to the end of your network. Changes and new opportunities happen at the edge of your network, where those weak ties are at. So circling back to people you haven't chatted with in a long time, reaching out, whether it's on, social media, Facebook, whatever it is, or just shooting out a text and seeing, hey, how's life been, to see what's going on with their situation. Because you never know, people can be living that quiet life of desperation. I mean, I was doing pharmaceutical sales before. On the outside, it looked great. I was traveling all over, was making good money, but honestly, on the inside, I just had that pit in my stomach every time I would go into my office to get around that atmosphere. And it was something that it's not always expressed on their face or on their Facebook or online or even normal conversations. But when you dig a little bit deeper with people, that's where you can kind of find that true story. So, what I love doing is when I'm out and about, I'm introducing myself first. So, like Kate and I, we sponsored an event at a local brewery last week, like the dinner or whatever it was. And what I did was I was going out and I was just talking to everyone. I made it in my head to say, look, I'm going to talk to as many people and get to know as many people at this event tonight, grab their names, grab their numbers, and maybe something comes out of it. Maybe something doesn't. But, it was just kind of funny too, because Kate noticed, she was like, hey, you're being really, you're like chatty tonight. And I was just going around talking to people, and I was just introducing myself first, having fun energy, good energy. I want to see who's going to match it, because I want to see who wants to do business with me. And the more I can have that high fun energy, I want to see if that's going to bring that out of that person, that energy out of that person too, because those are the type of people I want to be around. If someone's just going to be a wet log and not really be that fun, it may not really be a long conversation I'm going to have with them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think we talk about like sales being it's an energy matching and a vibration matching thing. Recruiting, I think, is even more so, right? Like, who can match your energy, and who can catch where you're spinning off. And so I love, and especially, when you talk about that, we talk about how Andy's trying to drive home a lot of the 3 full rules as well, going out there, because there are people everywhere. And we realize now, like, people are actually really, they are looking for opportunity, right?
Yeah.
The way how I always talk about like the way how the economy is, the way how a dozen egg costs at a grocery store, but everybody is looking for that extra income. And I know I was training my team this about 3 full rules. They were asking, so like, what do you say? Like in the 3 full rules? Well, there's 2 things. I say there's the regular 3 full rules, but there's also a 3 full rules advance. So I'll talk about the 2 things. So the 3 full rules is kind of like, okay, let's say everything is a scene of movies. So the way I look at it, it's like a scene, right? So let's say if I'm getting an Uber ride, Uber is a great opportunity because you're locked in with that person. Literally, he's right there driving. He ain't going nowhere. Right? So I'm thinking like, okay, so here's the movie scene. I'm the customer. I'm getting on a ride, right? And so the first thing I say when I open up the door and get in, I say, hey, thank you for picking me up, right? So think about this, right? I want to be friendly. I want to have that positive energy. And I want to see if they can match it, right? Because some Uber drivers, they're just like dead silence. I remember Riddle mentioned one time, like the access to the guy, essentially, he says, like, he's deaf, like he can't speak, but he actually spoke at the end of the ride. But some people just don't want to talk to you. But, I was match the energy. Hey, thank you for picking me up. Hey, the weather is crazy, right? And also right now in Vegas, we have the F1 racing, which like no one wants to go to the strip, right? So I was talking about that a little bit. All the Uber drivers goes crazy if they get a ride to the strip. They get super mad because they just get stuck there. And I usually typical ask, so now where I'm getting into is, hey, so what are your typical driving schedule? When did you start? Right. So because you'd be surprised, a lot of Uber drivers, they actually have another job. So I'm kind of trying to find out their hours right there. Like that's kind of what I'm asking there. And so when did you start? When did you end? Wow. Like, so if they've been around all night or they about to drop me off and go to another job, I kind of understand what's going on. So I can drive the conversation further of what they're doing. And all of a sudden I'm going to ask things where I'm like, wow, like you worked a lot, like, about their schedules and their time, because I know what we got going on here is we have, freedom to schedules, right? We have, we can be our own boss and things like that, flexibility. So I'm going to try to drive that home a little bit. But once you ask that person enough with what they are and what they're all about, they're kind of forced to ask like, hey, so what do you do? Right. Or sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like, oh man, I've been all over. Thank you for picking me up. I've been so busy. Or, hey, I just came back from Vegas. And they're asking me what you're doing. And so other than that, the 3 full rules in advance will be, let's say, a grocery store. Now, a grocery store, there's a lot of people. So I know Halloween just passed. There's people picking up pumpkins, right? Or pumpkin patch, or just at the grocery store. Literally, I'll go to the pumpkins. I'll act lost and not know what I'm doing. And the people that are around picking pumpkins are like, man, that one's better. How did you pick your pumpkin? So that's my conversation opener as well. So I'm always trying to feel like, okay, I'm a character in a scene of movies, and I'm going to try to do the 3 full rules, or I'm going to advance myself to being their 3 foot. So I'm curious, Mike, with you, I know you're doing 3 full rules as well everywhere you go, and you travel a ton. Just kind of curious what you're doing with your 3 full rules.
Dude, I love it what you're saying about the Uber drivers too. And that is such a key thing to do, especially with travels. It's like whenever I'm flying somewhere, I'm doing an Uber. I try to take Ubers as much as possible because you think about the investment you'd put into an Uber, that's actually buying you an opportunity to talk to someone right there, and talking to someone that's already hustling. And it's probably not their primary, job. And if it is, you can always say, hey, you plan on doing this for the rest of your life? You talk to them, you get to know that person, you understand their situation. And like I said, you have that high fun energy with that person, and if they're going to match you, you kind of dig a little bit deeper on it. But I build that relationship with that person, and it's funny that you say that, Ryan. Like, we're like, hey, I've just traveled here, I've gone there. That's exactly the stuff that I'm talking to, man. I'm saying, hey, oh yeah, I live in Chicago. How's the weather been out here? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going out to Pittsburgh tomorrow, and then I'm flying to OKC the next day, and then I'm going to Houston the day after that. And then that person's just like, what does this dude do? And that's where you start transitioning it. Yeah, we do financial services, we work in insurance. I help people just step into an industry to make side money. And then, I compliment them, make sure that they know, hey, you guys did a great job. But I'm doing the end of my ride with them to kind of say, hey, would love to jump on a call with you if this is something that would be a fit. Maybe it's for you, I don't know, but let me grab your number, and then I'll set up a time just to schedule the next day or that evening and get on the phone. Or if I'm traveling, man, I'm trying to get them to that hotspot, that training that I'm at in that area. So
that's awesome. Speaking of urgency too, like, getting their contact, right? And the one thing I started doing is I try to go around, grab a selfie with them real quick. I think the selfie is really powerful. And I just send it to them right after, so they know, they remember me and I remember them. Because again, like, we meet so many people. So that kind of comes down to like your organization, your recruiting philosophy. Believe it or not, you need to develop a recruiting philosophy. It's like your compass, like your guide, right? Like, what are you doing and all the steps? Like, Andy does not do anything without being intentional. Like, we know that, been around him enough. Like, everything's intentional. So I'm trying to get better at that as far as, my organization. And Mike, really, I want to, speak on to sometimes with recruiting, almost when people are starting out, I feel like it's a little bit of a chasing game. Like, they're kind of chasing people to get them to say yes and trying to press the opportunity. And I would say to kind of trying to switch that mindset from chasing to you're sorting people. You're kind of sorting the people, like Mike talked about, the energy. You want to see, okay, so there's so many things we can do through the recruiting process that you can kind of start like weeding people out and find out exactly who might be so I categorize them. Who's my A+, my A's, my B's and C's. And these are the qualities I look for. So I'll read them through. So basically, the person who responds fast, that asks questions, they do show urgency, they take steps when you tell them, hey, here's the link to sign up to get registered with us, right? They're hungry, they're available, they're coachable, and they actually want an opportunity. So like Mike, when you were talking about earlier, like when you're talking about, hey, so what are you doing other than Uber, right? It's one of those things like, and you talk about how, hey, I was doing this starting a part-time in financial services. That's great because you led to like, hey, maybe I can do what I'm doing now. I'm not talking about just kind of completely transition. I can do something like this part-time and be like this Mike, travel everywhere, having a ton of fun and good energy, right? So, and also sometimes when you are speaking to people or you're texting people, you really need to make sure that you got, so the dynamic, I talk about the dynamic between us and the client, right? What we can offer, and they do need our help. Same thing with recruiting. Like, what's your dynamic? You are the prize, right? You're the one with the opportunity. So instead of saying things like, hey, I'm just following up. Hey, I'm just circling back with you. Hey, I'm just checking in with you. Maybe you should say things that put you in a higher status. Things like, hey, I just want to make sure I didn't forget you before I close out my list, right? Or, hey, I'm just getting back to you as promised. Or, hey, I saw your message. I want to make sure you have what you need and answer your questions. So kind of still put that dynamic, like very clear with that person. But stay respectful, right? Just stay in your line, and you're the prize, and be patient. Because trust me, like Mike, you and I, we meet all kinds of people. Some people they talk the talk, but then like Andy said, their gums are yapping, but the action is totally different, right? I'm just kind of curious to kind of what you're seeing out there and how you're doing your kind of just continue to sort people.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's all continuous. It's as much as you can do it, because there's a law called the law of the excluded alternative. If you've heard this or read this before, so it says that doing one thing means not doing something else. Whenever you begin a task of any kind, you're consciously or unconsciously deciding not to do any other task that you could do at that moment. So your ability to choose wisely in terms of what you do first, what you do second, and what you do not do at all determines your entire life. So when I'm looking at that person that I see in the store or at the restaurant, I'm like, hey, that's a sharp person. They seem fun. They seem like they would be a great person to have on our team to do business, do life together. Is that getting me closer or further to my goals if I don't go and talk to that person? So it's always going to be that little uncomfortable side to it. But if you're staying in your comfort zone, you're not going to grow. And any type of action you're doing, which is past fear, but beyond fear, there's always going to be an opportunity for growth, is what I found. And anytime something's fearful to go do something, if you go and do it, you're going to grow in the right direction. And a lot of times after you do it over and over again, it's like, maybe this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Right.
100%, and I always say that, like something that I feel like was successful and it's been helping me a lot is really, again, I talk about the sorting. So I don't know how everybody's doing it, but I really do have my A plus prospects, my A's, my B's and C's. And I can kind of give you guys a little bit of kind of how I like kind of put them through each category. So, okay, so my A plus will be the people that are really engaged. They respond to my text quickly, they ask questions, show interest, and they're doing the steps that I have them doing. And maybe they already have experience, maybe they're licensed, maybe they have a team. So these are like my A pluses, right? A plus, A plus. And so these are the people that I will make sure that going through my days, I am making sure like they either stay in the process with me or where I stay engaged with them, right? I know Andy talks about how like there's so many people he talks every day. The people that are like selling, recruiting, and building, like he's gonna get back to you, right? The people that come to the convention once in a while, they don't come to the next one. They're kind of on the "I'll get back to you" list, right? So I mean, because we're busy, so you got to do that. My B's are like the mixed signal ones, like they're interested but they're distracted. They don't respond right away. They're doing the steps more like inconsistently, like. I'm waiting on them to just press that thing and just register get their NAA. Like if they came and like do that, like, oh my gosh, imagine like getting into the events, getting to buy convention tickets, right? And my C's were really like, they're kind of ghosting, they're leave me on red, as I call it, right? They won't book a call, they're not, getting back with my staff. But again, I think one thing here to keep in mind is still drip on them. Like these people they're out there and they're, and I would say this, I think this is great language too. Hey, I understand that timing and circumstances is different for everyone. I said that a lot even with clients, trying to bring them on and they're kind of stalling. So I think timing and circumstances everyone. And so let's just make sure we keep in touch. So I want to make sure they know that I'm not like giving up, but just kind of like I'm doing it where I'm respecting my time and their time a little bit. So the next thing we'll talk about is really, I like doing this, which is assume the sale. Like, I think action create action. I think, Mike, you can probably speak on the kind of the energy you bring in when you're recruiting somebody that you're kind of assuming, hey, like we're going to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. So especially if I'm talking to, let's do an example on like a licensed agent. So, I do a lot of licensed agent appointments. So PropHog is amazing. So that's a PC benefit. So if you haven't looked into that, take a look. But with PropHog and getting licensed appointments and talking to agents, talking to that person and again, always matching the energy, but seeing how you can help them and kind of figuring out their situation. I ask very simple questions, especially on the licensed list people. I go, what do you focus on? What do you focus on with your life license? So do you have life and health or just life? You do? Okay. What have you been focusing on with it? I learned that question from Diane Lampy. She taught me that a while back ago, because I kept on asking, like, well, what do you do with it? And then they'd always come back, well, I sell life insurance. And it's just like, oh, right. So, you try these things out, you hit those roadblocks, you have mistakes, but then, I'm very good at taking notes and making notes. So when I know when something's working, I'm going to make it better. If something's not working, I'm going to stay away from it. So as I'm having more and more conversations, I'm seeing what's working with people. And I know when I have that conversation of that person's situation, I try to fill in the gap. I try to figure out, how will this opportunity match up with them? Knowing your competition is huge. I know there's a document out there that's got all the different, IMOs out there that has some info on it about each of them. And you'll learn that at events too. You show up to events, you're going to learn all this stuff. And we got NatCon on January 22nd, which is going to be an amazing event in Dallas. If you do not have your ticket, oh my gosh, you need to get it like yesterday. But you go to events and you learn this stuff. And when you can figure out, hey, this is that simple step, that simple thing that you could do with us. I know you just said a little bit earlier too, that was a really, really great point. It's not that we're trying to get them to leave everything on what they're doing to come do business with us. What I've found, and Albright's talked about this too, is I'm the dude at the mall with the teriyaki chicken on the toothpick. Like, I'm just giving them a taste, but I'm talking about the buffet of everything that we can do, tiered to what gaps I'm finding with that person. So if they're at a certain IMO where they're just doing business to business and they're trying to fit that square peg into the round hole and they're leaving money on the table, like, you already know where I'm going with this. I'm going to talk about all the carriers. You're never going to leave money on the table. We're very nimble. We're flexible. And I'm finding those gaps in their business that we can fill. And then we're part-time, anytime. You come into this full-time, great. This is my story. This is how I started. I started part-time in the moonlight, and then I switched over once it made sense. And I've been building this thing ever since. So it's that teriyaki chicken on the toothpick mentality, and just showing them the buffet, and the ones that want to take it, they take that bite, and if they want to get more, cool. And then you can graduate into other things, because we have so many different categories in finance and insurance here.
I love the teriyaki chicken. One, it is good. And I used to work in the mall a lot, so they're always hitting them out, right? So I was just like thinking too, like with the analogy of teriyaki chicken, it's more like, instead of like, hey, would you like to have a sample? It's almost like you just grab it and go, free sample. And then like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of this recruiting thing, Mike, and you can agree with me or not, but it's like, I feel like it's like dating. It's a lot like dating. It's like people, like, instead of, hey, would you like to go on a date? Versus like, hey, let's go grab pizza. I know this spot is awesome on a Friday night. Right. And I just feel like people follow confidence. People follow leadership and certainty, right? Especially if you're like trying to introduce someone to something new, an opportunity, like you got to be confident, you got to be certain, you have to lead them, right? I mean, sales is leadership, right? You're trying to guide somebody from the other side of that bridge and just carry them over to the other side, right? Yeah. And I think a lot of time is, again, more on the dating example, like your job is really not to talk so much, but your job is really to ask good questions, and that kind of leads to for you to understanding many things about them, their pain points, their goals, the money situation, their frustration at their job or their boss, their family motivation, the family structure. Like if I talk to Mike, I know, like, married, 2 kids, their urgency, their fear, maybe their desire for lifestyle, or maybe just past failures, or their strength even. And I'm curious, Mike, like as far as when you're asking these questions, right? I mean, what are some of the things you feel like you can share with the audience, like some of the good nuggets where you're like, hey, some good questions you ask people often?
Yeah, I learn about their situation as soon as I can. So if I'm talking to someone across the country, hey, how long have you been living in that town? I try to get to know their situation of their hometown, how long they've been living there. Oh, I've only been here a couple years. So, where'd you grow up? Where's your hometown? And I'm doing that ping pong effect where if I'm asking them a question, I'm kind of coming back with, my info too. It's not just an interrogation. It's not like I've got, the white light and then the cigarette, and I'm just like drilling questions at them. It's a back and forth. But if they're not coming right back with a question, I'm filling it in too, and I'm getting to know them because I want to know about their family. I want to know about what they're trying to accomplish, what their goals are. So I ask the simple questions. How long you been living there? Okay, is there anyone else at home with you, or is it just you? That's a very simple way to figure out about their family. Are they young? Are they still with their parents? Then I can kind of see a little bit more about that situation. Or, are they just on their own? Do they have kids at home they're taking care of? I'm figuring it out because one, I want to build that relationship with that person so I can understand again their situation. Are they just trying to do this in the evenings? Are they trying to do this just during the day when the kids are at daycare? Are they just like sick and tired of being at that State Farm agency 9 to 5, and they're just starting a family, just got married, and want to just step out of it and take control of their time, their life, have financial freedom, the dream of that lifestyle. So I'm getting to know them as much as possible, and so I can understand really where they are at, because what I do is I meet people where they're at, and I do that not only in the conversations, but physically too. Ryan, you both of us, dude, we get on the planes, man. We hit the road. We go and see people, and that's how we're going to build that business. Is that relationship's great on Zoom, right? We get on the phone, we talk to people, we get on Zoom, we see them, but when you can shake their hand, sit next to them, have a coffee, grab a bite, that's where you can have some of those real conversations, and you can start building those real relationships with people. And then that's how you can start building your business bigger, because now you're with the people you want to build the business with, and that's how you get to know them. So those are some of the things I kind of dig into.
Definitely. And I think I remember Alex Abian, the great Alex Abian, talked about this before. Like, he's really good at gathering information, asking your questions, because he said, well, based on everything they say, is potentially kind of like a ammunition you can kind of go back to as far as like, to further the conversation along, to drive further pain point. Like, hey, like, so if you continue to stay where you're at and stay in the same status quo and nothing ever changes, how does that gonna make you feel, and how everything's gonna evolve, your family and your goals and your dreams like you had? And so I really love that, and really you read my mind, Mike. I was literally, my following point is really, like, there's no people at your house other than your family. So it's like, I know we're like leaving, you're leaving Kate, I'm leaving Tatiana, and they're in Asia, and we're leaving our children. We're going out there to really truly build a business, right? And hey, Zoom is great. I love Zoom. I know for sure after COVID, it does make our lives easier and more efficient. I mean, I can book more appointments now, because I remember back then driving in LA traffic and Orange County is like, okay, I get lucky to get like 3 meetings in after driving like 6 hours in traffic. But then with Zoom, sure, it can book like 9 appointments, right? But again, like, I used to fly to clients. I used to go, obviously it depends on like how much money they have with me, but it's like, but I feel like the recruiting is like one of those things where like, okay, like, I really want to go out there, like you said, shaking hands, like I'm thinking again, like, give them that teriyaki chicken, almost like, again, it's like, I can't talk about the simple, how good it is, versus just having to try, right? And get them into the local hotspots, getting them into different events. I know, speaking of events, AIT, I went to the first AIT, really changed my business a lot, changed my downlines business, the one I brought with me. We have one coming up December 1st, December 5th, and the lineup, it's insane. Diane Lampy is going to be there, Alex Abian Riddle, Mike Noel, Terry, Jason, Andy, of course, going to be there, learning from the CEO himself. It's insane. And so I really encourage, and literally I had a recruit yesterday, Mike, and he was urgent. He got his NA right away, started doing contracting, already licensed. But guess what? I'm like, hey, I think this is really going to help you out a lot. And guess what? He's in Charlotte. I'm like, dude, do you want to learn from the CEO himself and all the board members we have, all the top leaders that are going to fly in to you just a drive away. And literally, we got him signed up for AIT. I just recruited him.
Awesome.
But it's like, if you just think about that, right? So I know, Mike, we're going to talk about some events. I know we're at the cabin, okay? So this is what really impressed me about you. And of course, you're EVP now for a reason, but it's like when we go to the cabin, like, all right, awesome, got invited. I'm going to go hunting. I'm going to go eat some good food, hang out with Andy, learn from my peers. But what you did was so special. You had 3 people with you at the cabin. Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely, man. It's all about the other's growth. You know, the Power of the Other is an amazing book, Dr. Henry Cloud. You know, you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And that's a Zig Ziglar quote from a while ago. And, you know, the thing is, in this business, no one gets, you know, if you're building a team, you're not going to have success until your team has success. So the growth of the people that are around you is going to bring that growth for yourself as well. And the more that you can lift people up, that's when you're going to be raising yourself up too. So, you know, I think it was in a John Maxwell book. It's like, if you're above people trying to push them down, you're not going to really grow. But if you're lifting people up and pushing up, that's how you're going to grow and go too. So it's like, it's helping the other people that are on your team being responsible for their growth. Bringing up habits, talking to them about coming to events. You build your business event to event here. And that's the biggest thing is, and I learned that from Diane Lampy, my aunt, since day one. Albright talks about it as well. And it's funny too, Ryan, what you said, you know, when people are telling Abian things that, oh, well, you said this. Well, anything that you say or do will be used against you, right? But for you in the right way. So for you in the right way. So if you want a big business, if you want to do 6 figures, if you want to do 7 figures, you know, those are going to be the things that I'm not going to only use against you. I'm going to use it for you. And I'm going to talk to you about the path and then getting to the events and bringing people with you. So, you know, developing others is one of the most important things. And I think it was Think and Grow Rich. The highest paid profession is influencing others
and getting people to move. Getting people to move.
Yep, that's the line. Getting people to move. So that's what I strive to be, man, is just keep on helping people, getting them to grow, you know, putting bigger goals out there for themselves, because you put a goal two sizes too big, you got to grow to get into it. And so you got to push. And, you know, you get people to move along and get moving and try new things. And that's how they're going to either make mistakes and learn from it, or they're going to step up and grow even more. So getting them around the right people, that's how they're going to grow. That's a big, big thing, is that association, man.
Absolutely. And, you know, in the cabin events, it's very exclusive too. And I know, like, at conference, we love conventions, but obviously there's a lot going on. Andy's busy, but like, if you think about the cabins, like, you got them right there. And I know, like, a lot of us, like, I remember you and I were like, we're always the one that stayed up the longest. Like, you and I, there's why I got you on this call. So I did, like, Mike and I, is like, really, it's like, we don't go to sleep until Andy goes to sleep.
That's the key right there, man. And Andy will stay up too, man. He'll be like, hey, I'll stay up as long as awesome, dude. This is what I'm here for. So I will hang out and stay up as late as possible, because this is what I'm here, dude. I'm here. I want to learn. So let's keep going.
I remember we're like, we just keep asking question, and Andy was just there, like, we're just, you know, going at it. But if you think about it, right? I mean, the environment of the cabin, obviously remember the first night, the short rip, that's just insane. Your downline Kendall was playing pool. You were playing pool with Andy, and just like, having a ton of fun. Imagine, like, that culture, like, where can you go? I don't know. I don't remember my life, or maybe your life, the company we work with, we're literally like hanging out with the CEO, playing pool, eating good food. I
cannot say that at all.
and would you say, like, the people that you invited to the cabin, like, what's your business look like now? I mean, after the cabin.
Yeah, man, growing. I know Tim Bird is hidden agency manager. He's very close this month to hitting that number. I know he's going to do it. So that's going to be his first month getting after it. But after that, man, it's like that focus from everyone just kind of dialed in. And, you know, it's like you're talking to you kind of shed a skin, so to speak, after these types of events. And, you look at your goals going forward and who you have to become to be able to hit those goals. And I think sometimes at those events, what it can do for people is it can help you get some self-awareness and break out of those self-limiting habits to say, hey, there are changes that I need to make. There are decisions that I have or there are things that I need to do to be able to grow into these next steps or this next level that I want to be. And, these guys are recruiting like crazy. They're bringing in people left and right. They're building those relationships better with their agents on their team. And I'm seeing it too, because it shows in the numbers. It shows in the results. They're recruiting people, their numbers are getting higher from their team and themselves. AP is up, unique numbers are up. So it's like, when I see that stuff happening, things before had to grow or had to happen before any of those numbers were just showing up out of the blue. So I'm really excited for all those guys, because I've seen just bumps in everything that they're doing, and I know that it's just going to keep on growing, keep on going.
Congratulations, man. I know those guys were great already, but now they're even better. And it kind of speaks to like, let's say if someone has experience in the industry and we are kind of recruiting them from maybe another IMO to the Alliance, right? Our culture, our leadership. I mean, just keep in mind that like what Mike is doing, as an upline, like if I'm, on his team, I'm like, well, what's my current upline doing for me versus Mike? He's trying to get me to come to the events. He's trying to promote. He's trying to get me to get close to the fire, to catch on fire, right? Let the event do the work. And he talks about that all the time. And just right now you have, you have agency managers breaking out, more recruits, it's not by surprise. And I feel like sometimes we need to not have that sense of entitlement. Yes, we get overrides, but those overrides are earned. Like, you're not just gonna be there, I'm gonna recruit people on Zoom, and then I'm gonna expect them to like be all agency manager. Like, that doesn't work that way. And so other than the cabin too, we have something that's exclusive that's really coming up too. I know the Alliance have the ways you can actually be able to qualify for it as the Integrity Private Club in downtown Dallas, right? Just before our NatCon 23rd, 24th, 25th. On the 22nd. I know they're doing competitions with American Amicable again, with the app submission, also lottery tickets again. So I've been up there, this past August, with your on Diane Lampy. We were there just talking about recruiting, and really an exclusive club. Andy's there, all the leadership's there, but like meeting Brian Adams was a big deal, right? Just kind of seeing the integrity vision, and obviously, like, right now I'm just like, hey, Mike, you and I, we got to be, partners, right? One day, that's the goal, right? That's the dream, like that's our future. And really, speaking of which too, I know we went through really the last 40 minutes. I know they asked us to talk about 3 things on recruiting. I think we talked about 10. And like, because that's what these calls are about, right? It's like, we want people to really, I would say, learn it, copy it, but implement it, right? So the more we can give you guys what we're doing and you guys can implement it, then we're all going to win. Like, we're not one of those organizations like, oh, we're going to do good and keep it to ourselves. Like, we want to share it. That's why the system works so amazingly. And that's why we're at the Alliance. But I want to ask you, Mike, too, like, why do you recruit? I think that's very important.
Absolutely, man. I love that. Building a business, building a lifestyle. Do it for my family, do it for my kids. You have to have a vision of the future of what you want. You look at things at the Robb Report. You look at, houses that are on the, I don't know, Kate watches this Selling Sunset or something, where they have these homes that are like insane. And I'm just like, before I used to be like, nah, that's just way too expensive. Why would anyone do that? Now I'm like, how do we get there? How is that a possibility? Like, how can we do that? Not, I can't afford that. How can I afford that? Right. Yep. So I recruit because it's building outlets, it's building your business, it's creating that infinity income for you. And the more you can help other people grow And the more that you can share this opportunity and see where the seeds that you're throwing out will grow, they either land on rock or soil. And the more seeds you can throw out and the more growth you get from those people, you're just helping more people out at the end of the day. And that's, Diane has always told me this too. She's like, people, oh, you're building this amazing business, you're recruit. Well, I just help more people out than other people. I just help more people out than others. And that's how you can grow a big business, is just keep on helping people out. Get them growing, get them moving more. So
absolutely. And I know we're both, from the Fitz group. So shout out to Fitz group and shout out to Diane. I mean, I think also Diane had an impact on me. Was at the West Coast event. I think she pulled me aside and she said, "Hey, just know to keep recruiting. The days you like to do it, the days you don't like to do it, you just keep recruiting and getting people in." And I can share a little bit about, why I recruit. And I think maybe a lot of you guys would be surprised. So I came from financial planning background, right, with a big firm, numbers, illustrations, researching companies, proposals, right, client acquisition. I knew my ability and I trust myself. And I always said, I would never build a team. Truly, let's say these IMOs out there, they recruiting people but I'm going to be a true financial professional. Like that was me, for the first 8 years in my career. But then what I really realized was that we're all human. Things can happen. There are emergencies, there are losses. And so in 2020, COVID, which is a crazy year for us already, but that was a year I lost my grandfather, my grandmother, and my dad all within 7 months. And obviously they're in Asia. I was in America. I knew the day when my dad passed away at the hospital, it was literally 5 a.m. I'm out the door trying to go to LA for 3 appointments. And literally I was on FaceTime just watching my dad, literally just he was just laying there, FaceTime. And my mom, my sister trying to explain to me what's happening. I'm driving, I'm looking down at my phone. And we're just do it, just crazy. But I was so focused on getting to LA, getting to my appointments. And I'm I couldn't really understand what was happening versus just kind of going through my day. So things does happen, and and I have to go back to Asia for multiple funerals, right? So it's one of those things where wow, so if I'm doing things by myself and things happen and I'm out of the business, guess what's happening to my income? It's reality, right? And then we hear stories and after stories from our organization, the Alliance. Things happen to us too. People go through, sickness, cancers, and family emergency, death in the family. But what I've heard the story here is, when they have a team, the team actually rallied behind them. Mike, I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm talking about. So it's just different, right? And I knew also it's this business is great. I mean, you can always run around yourself, and I think for you and I to get clients, it's literally just brushing teeth almost. This is what we do. We get it, right? But it's building that legacy for our children too. I think Andy mentioned this at Cabo. Hey, what are you building to make sure your children gets to come back to you? And that hit me really hard because I think most of us, after maybe your children's 18, 20, 21, they're off to college and they're just they're out of the house, right? And then so maybe they come back during the holidays. But what I'm seeing, Andy, is obviously Spencer, Haley, Brandon, they're all in the business. With Brandon, Haley, congratulations, new integrity partner. I mean, it's
absolutely. And dude, that's so amazing what you're talking about too, is the way that Andy with Haley and Spencer coming back and being around them. I think about MJ and Lola down the road. I want to be able to have the experiences that they want to come back more. They want to come see me more. And so I look at the place that I live, and we have all the vision and our dream and saying, hey, let's put this addition on, let's do this part, let's add this thing. Hey, one thing I want to do is that I've always talked about is put a giant fountain and there's a backstory to that with Kate and her family, but the fountain I want to put in front of our house, I want it to be something where people are walking by that they have to stop and they want to throw a coin into it. Like that type of fountain I want to have at my house. But those are the types of things I want to be able to have that experience and create that environment for my kids to be like, hey, let's go to the Maurices. Let's come over to my house. Like, let's go do some fun things over there and have these just fun experiences once they're getting older and just, growing and having those fun times and creating those memories and just having experiences where people are just like, wait, what? You did what? Like, you were on a jet? Like, you went to 7 cities in like 4 days? Like, what? Like those types of conversations I love having with people, and I want to be able to have my kids be a part of it someday.
Awesome. Yeah, because I think it all starts with why, right? We talk about whys all the time, and then I kind of envision that fountain for you too, like making it happen. But also, it's a place where like not only just family, but like your team gets to go, right? But if you don't recruit, there's like nobody can like. Who are you sharing your visions with? I think it's so important too, like with our teams, like. Are you sharing your vision? Are you sharing your mission statements? Are they watching exactly what you're doing? Are you sharing that? Because if you don't show anything, then how can they follow? Right. So if you're sitting at home doing Zoom, I'm not bashing you, but like you can't just keep taking selfies at home that you're in a Zoom versus Mike and I were in different cities. Like, hey, we're boarding here at 6 a.m. Hey, we're getting back to our family real quick. Jump in again to another city. Like that's what we're doing. And we love it. I know we love it, but it's like we're going out there and like we're touching souls, we're touching people, but also at the same time, Mike, and I don't know, you can share this too. I think it's so cool that we have the opportunity to change a stranger's life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, if they just do exactly what we're doing and they get plugged in, I mean, it changed my life. So.
Absolutely, man. And that change, I mean, we've had those changes for us, man. It's like, since it's happened for us, we know we have the belief that it can happen for others. And it's like that treasure you had said in the beginning of this call. It's like, we have that treasure, and it's selfish if we don't share it with others and give them this opportunity. And it may not be for every person that you talk to and you bump into and you grab their number, and that's fine. You're giving out that opportunity, and you're seeing who's going to respond back to you and how they can jump into it and what they're going to do with it. But that treasure is so important, of that transition, that change, not only just your life, your mindset and your vision going forward. A lot of changes you can bring to people, and I love doing it.
Absolutely. And I want to kind of really, because I was talking about books with Mike. I know, Mike, you're reading too. And hey, Andy takes 15 minutes a day, but I know you're doing like 30 minutes. Like
yeah.
You're doing 30 minutes a day.
30 minutes a day, man. Been doing it. It's been about just over a year and a half, 30 minutes every single day. Doesn't matter if it's Sunday, birthday, Christmas Eve, whatever it is, I'm getting 30 minutes a day, whether it's in the morning, it's before I hit my head hits the pillow that night. And on my group chats, we all know we put these green check marks in our group chats when you knock out your daily reading. That's what we do as a team. We put that in there for our daily read.
That's awesome. I'm gonna implement that. That's awesome. Yeah, I tell them to do the reading, but didn't do the check-ins, right? So you see, that's one of those things I'm learning too. And so I've been on the Inside the Circle a lot, and not just only reading it, but also I am listening to it on iTunes too as well, on between flights and things like that. So I'm gonna read this real quick, and it's just really something that really impacted me a lot. It's on the right now chapter. So again, that right now. So that's why that urgency is there. But it says here from Andy, it says, I want to encourage you to stop thinking so small and be bold. Make up your mind now to take risk that can pay off for you down the road. If you can stop thinking about getting the payoff now and then start thinking about in terms of being rewarded in the bigger ways down the road, right? That's like everything. And I think a lot of times as we're trying to do something or trying to get results right away, But it's more so like it's the effort, it's the build up, right? This business, what I love about this business is everything is being compounded like an IUL, like an annuity. Like everything is being compounded. Yeah, it takes a little bit of hard work, takes a little bit of time to build up, but like if you're doing it consistently, you're paying that premium, like the thing is gonna look very, very beautiful, right? But there's so many people, they're looking at the now, Mike. They're not like, so if you look at the now, like how can you do bigger things, because futures are always, likely bigger, right?
Yeah, the consistency, man. Consistency compounds. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, really great read if you haven't read that one. An amazing book. But you keep doing something over and over and over again. It's just be that quantity group in that ceramics class, not the quality. Do that quantity, and the more you're doing something over and over and over and over and over again, that's how you're going to get better. That's how you're going to learn from your mistakes, and that's how you're going to grow.
Absolutely. Like, what are you most excited about right now, Mike, about your business? Just curious.
Ooh, man, just other leaders. People are stepping up, growing. The team's just bringing in great numbers, and finding other leaders too. So, it's like we've got guys in our team that are recruiting and bringing in these sharp people. And I'm so excited to see where it's like, all these different individuals on the team are starting to build their network, build their team, have their people come into the events. It's not just the one person anymore. It's this network starting to expand and just starting to take over this country. And it's just like, it's so excited to see the change in the conversations that I'm having with people that I'm doing business with, and seeing the goals getting bigger for other people. The expansion of the mindset and the perspective from guys on our team. And it's like, I'm just getting excited because right now, our whole team right now, we're pretending it's 2026 right now. And what if you did that, right? Everyone did that right now. If we pretended like it's 2026 today, imagine your sprint going to January 1st. That when you get to January 1st, it's not, let's write out our goals for the year. Let's see what we can give up on in 9 days or 30 days, whatever. No. What if you started right now for your goals of 2026? So when January 1 hits, you're already sprinting through that brick wall and taking over that start of the year.
I love that, man. Like, it's 2026 already. And, we often talk about this in business, the month where people make the most excuses is December. So like, hey, I got this going on. I got family doing that. Like, there's a bunch of excuses that could happen. But again, I always, like, for me, Mike, I have this fear that like someone's behind me right now. And if I feel like I'm slowing down and I'm like literally relaxing, and I'm just going to get passed on. Right. So it's that urgency. And then really for you, like, dude, I'm seeing the fountains already. I wanted to go to the Maurices, right? So it's like, I see that for us, and that accountability, that partnership, that friendship. And I wouldn't be able to meet you and meet Kate if it wasn't, this business, right? This wonderful business. And for me, I guess to really on my end first, and then Mike, you go. But I would say for me, on exploding your recruiting, it's urgency, right? It's your volume. Many lines in the water, you're sorting, you're not chasing people. Make sure you know the dynamic, like higher status, right? Ask powerful questions, remembering them, being present, right? Being present, assume to sell, lead by example, and just serving people. You know that the more people you serve, the better you'll get. And I know one thing we were just talking about this morning in the manager group that actually Andy coached me on in NBC was, when I'm recruiting somebody, when I'm meeting somebody, not only getting their contact, but all the questions I'm asking, I'm taking notes down, and within their contact to add those in the notes. So you remember exactly, let's say they have how old they are, they have children or not, are they licensed, not licensed, what's previous success, track record, have they played college football, within the military, where they're from, what city. And so those things has really benefited me a lot, just as far as remembering who they are. And if I were to try to get leverage and say, hey, Clay, I need you to meet this person. They're going to the home office next week. I can send that contact to Clay. And better yet, if I have a picture of them, that'd be awesome. So those are the things that I feel like be helpful to you guys. Mike, what about you?
Dude, that's amazing. Now, also with the contact, I learned that from Diane Lampy a long time ago too. Add something in that you like about them, something that's memorable that you really liked about them, and that's a good way to connect with them again when you get that phone call or you reach out or you shoot a text to them. Just never give up on people, because you never know when their timing's going to come back around. Last couple things for sure: stay consistent. Stay consistent. You know, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. You're going to have people that say no, you know, forget you. No, I don't want this. No, that's what you're going to get, those guys. But you're going to get the ones that are going to be like, heck yeah, I've been needing something like this. And get in that person with that high energy, that's fun, that's going to be part of your team, that you're going to love growing with and just travel in the world with, because that's what you do in this business with your team. Fill up your schedule, stay consistent, keep showing up, get excited, and never quit. There's a 100% success rate for the ones that do not quit.
Absolutely. Don't make financial decisions for other people, please. Don't make financial decisions for other people. Recruiting is a anytime thing. It's an everyday thing. It's a 24/7 thing. Let's go. Let's go have a great day. Let's go kill it. Me and Mike, we're about to go recruit some more. Let's do it. And I will see you guys in NatCon, January 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Let's go, baby.
Let's grow. Thanks, bud.